Welcome to another video of Sonic Gazelle Pilot. Today we are going to plan our GPS flight using a tool that is little known but is very useful and is wonderful. It's the planner from Microsoft. We will fly over an island on the east of Africa which is called La Réunion. It's part of France, and we will fly from Saint-Denis to Pierrefonds. But instead of planning our flight here in the world map, we will go to the website plannerflightsimulator.com, and there we can also zoom in to the island of La Réunion. Now we are flying a Skyhawk airplane, so we will make a quite straightforward flight plan. First I select Foxtrot Mike Echo Echo as the departure airport. We have some information here, but the most important is to add it to the route as a departure. Similarly, we go to Foxtrot Mike Echo Papa and we add it to the route as a destination. And here you have already the line. But this line is not enough. We also want to select a runway for our departure. And I would like to fly out in the western direction from runway 30. So I will go to routes and I will add a departure. And here I will select runway 30. You can see here the standard instrument departure routes. That's interesting if you fly a airliner, but with a Skyhawk we don't want to wander off so far from the island, so we will just choose direct and select that. Similarly, we also want to have the approach runway. Let's have a look. I would like to come in from the north because we are going to fly around the island in this direction, and I would like to land on runway 15. So for the approach I click on add, choose 15, and I choose the RNAV approach. You can do on many runways an ILS approach, an instrument landing system approach, but when you want to simply use a GPS approach, you can choose RNAV. And will we select a transition point? I think this is an interesting one. As you can see on the map, the octip waypoint brings us straight to runway 15, so I will select octip and select that. So now we have quite interesting flight path. The only thing that bothers me is that from runway 30 we would have to take immediately a turn to the left, so I'd rather add a waypoint and let's choose, for instance, Echo Echo 602 and add it to the route, append to route, and now we have a route from Foxtrot Mike Echo Echo via Echo Echo 602 to Octip, which is here, and in Octip we have an RNAV approach with an initial entry point here and a final entry point here before we start descending to Foxtrot Mike Echo Papa at runway 15. Now all we have to do now is save this flight plan. I will call it Réunion Skyhawk, and with that we can go back to the world map, and now you can bring up the electronic flight bag, and on routes you can load flight plan, and here you have Réunion Skyhawk. Loading it, we have our routes, as you can see. Well, as you can see here, exactly as we filed it in Planner from Microsoft. And what we will do is we will file this plan with ATC, and we will send the route to Avionics before starting the flight. So the flight has loaded, and as you can see we are on runway 30. If we bring up the electronic flight bag and have a look at the routes, then you can see that it has perfectly the route that we planned. Going from Foxtrot Mike Echo Echo via Echo Echo 602 from runway 30 via Octip to the initial entry point 15 and the final entry point 15 to runway 15 on Foxtrot Mike Echo Papa. Jumping into the plane, we can verify this also on the GPS system. Because we sent this flight plan to Avionics, it is in the GPS system. Let me increase the range a little bit, and here you can see again via Echo Echo 602 and Octip, initial entry point 15 and final entry point 15 to runway 15 of the destination. It's all in the GPS. You can even have a closer look by clicking on flight plan, and if you click then here with your left and right mouse, you can scroll through it and you will see that we depart from runway 12. That's an error. That should be runway 15. So probably something went wrong. I will quickly adapt this by clicking on enter, clicking here with the mouse and drag it to 30 and clicking on enter again. So runway 30, via Echo Echo 602, Octip, initial entry point 15, final entry point 15, runway 15. It's all here. Click on flight plan again to get rid of this, get the range a little bit zoomed out, and we can depart. The only thing that I will do is what I always do in a Cessna Skyhawk. I have autopilot to help me. I will first click on VS from vertical speed mode to modify the altitude we're going to fly. Turning this knob, I'll put it to 3,500 feet and click twice on VS, nose up, and you can see here the altitude with which we want to climb. I will put this to 800 feet per minute, and with this we can actually disengage the brake and apply full throttle and lift off. Have to wait until we reach a speed of 55 knots to take off. And here we are, 55 knots, taking off gently, engaging autopilot, and as we are flying in GPS mode, nav, and also put the mode in GPS mode, and now we are flying in GPS mode. And if you have a look here, you see that we are heading from runway 30 to Echo Echo 602, our first waypoint, just as planned. We are also climbing at an altitude of around 850 feet. We are on 460 feet altitude, and we will keep climbing and steady off automatically at 3,500 feet. I will be right back when we approach our first waypoint. Maybe I can just show the assistance gates.
Tower Cessna Tree Bravo.
See,
Charlie Echo
they
India
are
continue
here
for
in
east
blue
departure.
on top of the screen and show our estimated routes. The distance to the next waypoint is 2.3 nautical miles. I will come back when we are near that first waypoint. Welcome back. We are further on our flight. As you can see, we have passed our first waypoint and we are now en route from Echo Echo 602 to Octip. I just wanted to show you the amazing view here. We have a huge canyon on the left, as you can see here. Let's us appreciate this view from outside. Also On the GPS, the Garmin 1000, we see we are this dot here. We are heading straight to Octip. This is still 18 nautical miles away. I will be right back when we approach Octip. So welcome back. As you can see now, our dot is very near Octip. If you have a look, we are going from Echo Echo 602 to Octip, and we are at 1.3 nautical miles from Octip. Now the wonderful thing about autopilot and GPS is that everything goes automatically. As you see, autopilot is on. I set GPS in navigation mode on, and automatically at Octip we bank to the left, and you will see that once our turn has been made at Octip, that here the next waypoint will appear. Let's wait until that turn has been made, and we see now that we go from Octip initial approach fix to initial entry point 15, which is where we will prepare for our descent. Up ahead in the distance should be runway 15 of our arrival. Now, interestingly, to have an automatic descent glide path, we need to be at a certain altitude. We can bring up the electronic flight bag, and here we have our route. We can see where we are on our route, and take a note of the waypoints, initial entry point 15 and final entry point 15, because if we have a look at the map of our destination runway 15 and call up the map, you will see that we are right here. Let me zoom in a little, and we are heading to initial entry point 15, where we have to be at or above 3,500 feet, and at final entry point 15 we have to be at 3,500 feet. You can also see this right here. We are coming to initial entry point 15 at 3,500 feet, right here, and we are going to final entry point 15, where we have to be at 3,500 feet. Now, this is all set. We are actually flying at 3,500 feet, as you can see right here. Another way to know the altitude that you need for the entry point is to use the Garmin 1000 GPS. Go to flight plan, click with the left mouse and the right mouse, and you will see that initial entry point 15, you have to be at 3,500 feet. When I scroll down to final entry point 15, we have to be at 3,500 feet, and the next point is runway 15. So we are all set. We are still 3 nautical miles from initial entry point 15. I will come back when we are reaching final entry point 15 and can start our descent. So welcome back. We are now flying on the west coast of La Réunion, heading to our final entry point, and we will have to land somewhere there. As you can see, all is set. We are at 3,500 feet, and we are flying from initial entry point 15 to the waypoint final entry point 15 final fix, and we are still at 1.2 nautical miles. So this is when I want to hit the approach button. You can see it is on now, and what this will do is once we reach the final entry point 15, the plane will start descending automatically, purely based on the GPS. So we don't have to do a manual landing. We are nearing, we are 0.54 nautical miles, and I expect that the plane will start descending. You can see also this pink line, and right now we are starting to track this pink line. Here you see GP, which means that the glide path has been engaged, and we are going down 450 meters per second, descending, following the glide path icon towards the runway. All we have to do now is adapt our speed. As you can see, we are at way too high speed, so I'll reduce the throttle, which you can see here. And our speed starts descending drastically. I'll aim for 65 knots for the landing. Once we are below 8, we can set flaps, which I have done right now. This is actually off screen because I have an external gear to do that, and I will set flaps to full. As you can see here, the flaps are set to full, and the plane is descending nicely following the glide path icon. We have our autopilot on, we have our nav off, because we are now on the glide path, nav went off, and we have also our approach on. And the runway is just in front of us, as you can see here. So let's now gently wait until we touch down. Oh, I have to increase the speed because we are going to stall. I just did not pay attention to this. We need 65 knots. A little bit of an emergency situation. You can see that once I reach 65 knots, the plane starts aiming again for that glide path. So I'll maintain 65 knots by working with the throttle. We are catching up with the glide path again and still descending. So this shows that you have to be attentive all the time, even flying on GPS, because the throttle is something you have to manage yourself. I'll steady off on 68 knots as we go gently down towards the runway. So in this video I showed you how you can use the planner from Microsoft to plan a flight using a departure runway, an arrival runway, departure procedure, an arrival procedure, adding waypoints, and then just save this in Flight Planner of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Load it with the electronic flight backing world map of Microsoft Flight Simulator for 2040 or 2024, and then fly the entire flight using GPS, nothing much you have to do, and then how you actually make sure to be on a good altitude to engage the approach and have the plane automatically descends. I'm gonna make another video about the same flight where I'm going to plan the flight in the Garmin thousands. So actually here. That will give just this little bit of extra realism. This video should be soon available. Once again, if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave it below and I will be happily addressing it and enjoying the fully automated flight that we did. This glide path icon sitting right where it should be, and our GPS autopilot glide path approach right up to that runway there. I see that my speed is decreasing, so I'll put a little bit of throttle and try to aim at 65, around 65 knots for the landing. Which should be soon enough. You can actually see the PAPI lights, too white, too red, which means we are at the exact good altitude. If they were all red, we would be too low. If they were all white, we would be too high. Now all we will have to do for the landing is to flare the plane, and to do so we will disengage autopilot in the very last moment, which is this button right here. We are at about 65 knots. By the way, if it would be misty and you could not see far, then you could fly this completely based on the primary flight display that is here. You have the glide path, the altitude, speed, and the GPS heading. It's all you need to do an approach. And this is about the time to take over from autopilot. This will give a beep, I think. Yes. And now I'm flying the plane myself. Little corrections to make. Actually, none. Maybe reduce the speed a little. And at the last moment, I will reduce the throttle to idle and I will flare. And we have a touchdown. I have many more videos. Please have a look at them. If you like my channel, I would be grateful if you subscribed. Thank you and bye bye. See you next time.